We're just existing. And then along come these thoughts swirling around in the atmosphere, and they land. And then all of a sudden, we make them mean that there's something wrong with us. We have all come here with a divine purpose, traveling on a stream of cosmic dust from the stars into our mother's wombs, born into this precious life. It is no accident that you are here, my love, on earth, in this moment, in this body. You are here longing to find your place, to align with your purpose, to embody your passions and to live into the dreams of your heart. Yet so often we get caught, suspended in the tangle of life, not able to move forward, not able to find solace and comfort in a world that has forgotten the truth of our existence. As we begin to remember, as we peel back the layers, as we come together to uncover our unique gifts and reconnect with our authentic selves, we are able to see another way of being, a new possibility, a different life waiting to be lived. I have experienced on this complicated and wild journey of life that when we connect with the story of our soul, it will show us the magic of this life that we have been missing. It will open a window into the very heart of who we truly are, of who we came here to be, and gives us answers to our ever-asking why. Hello, welcome. So glad to be back here with you today. Lots of amazing things unfolding on this end, sharing out through the fabric of the world to you. If you haven't downloaded your Ignite Your Intuition guide, there's a link in the show notes. Really beautiful practice to take you through to help connect you with your internal knowing and wisdom. Also, the Primal Intuitive Power Quiz. There's a link below for that as well if you haven't taken that. And to remind you of our Sacred Circle that is beginning in September, where we join together, not just for ourselves, but for making the world a better place for us all, by looking at our own wounding, by going deep with all the things that show up in our lives, and really being together on this magically wild spiritual journey, supporting each other through community, through connection, through learning, through growing. So if you're interested in a seat at our circle, the Crucible is calling you. The Circle of Sacred Feminine Alchemists wants you. You know this is your place. You know this is the thing that is for you. I look forward to seeing you there. There's a link in the show notes to apply. As we dive into our call today, Tracey is here with us, and she is on a deep and profound spiritual journey, one where she is willing to sacrifice everything from her old life in devotion to the path she's walking. And she is concerned about where is her money going to come from, because she has given up everything. So this reading takes us on a journey where we look at finding comfort and joy in the present moment. And this journey in allowing your old self to die so your new self can emerge. We talk about how it is not wise to believe everything that your mind tells you. And we look at how changing your thoughts actually changes your reality. We dive into how healing ourselves heals 7 generations forward and 7 generations backward. And we really look at this topic of how nothing is truly separate, that everything is connected. And in this interconnectedness, spirit won't change. We are the ones that get to change in order to remember. So enjoy my reading with Tracey. I love you. Hi, Tracey. Welcome to the podcast. How can I help you today?
Hi, Sarah. So I've been having some major issues around money, and not just keeping it or multiplying it, literally just having it come in. And it's been wild. I was thriving as an interior architect, had a spiritual awakening, and craziness started happening. And then my income just started dribbling away. And no matter what I was doing, I wasn't able to create income. And so I was, in a way, like definitely forced to just be still because nothing else was working. So now I'm in this space where I have gone through all of my money, all of my savings, all of my income, and I am probably going to have to move from where I'm living right now because there's no more money. Probably going to have to move back with my mom and dad. And I have two sons that are older. And I'm literally just releasing all of that. And there's no guilt or no shame. I'm not living from the conditioning. I'm just being very, very present and intentional. But it's also the scariest thing I've ever been through as I am dissolving this conditioning of the false self and just being of a higher consciousness. It's the letting go of an identification with the only person I've ever known. So, yeah, that's all.
Oh, thank you for bringing this rich topic and situation that I know so many people find themselves in. And your willingness, right? That's the thing I feel in you is your willingness to feel everything. You're like, all right, this kind of sucks. And yet here I am, and I'm just willing to be with it all. And it's like this sense of like the floor dropping out from under you. And yet it reminds me of, I don't know which monk quoted it, but it says, oh, the bad news is you're falling. And yet the good news is there's no ground.
I like that.
Yeah. And I feel like you're in that place, right? Often the spiritual path, when we truly, truly devote ourselves to it, is like this, where everything that we hide behind gets taken away
Yeah. Mhm.
so that we really can find the truth of who we are.
When you said that, I just thought of like deriving my value from money, deriving my worth from money. But then on the other side, it's just like a practical staple that is also needed.
Mhm. Yeah. And yet here you are willing to lay down everything for this path, willing to give up everything because you believe in it so deeply. You have no idea where you're going, what's happening, how it's all going to be. And yet here, like you're sitting in it. And what's interesting is oftentimes when we're in this place and I connect in with somebody, there's a lot of anxiety. And I do sense some in you. And yet it feels, what's the word? Like it's not the main thing. It's like sitting on top of your resolve underneath, of your determination, of your ability to be with all of yourself and what's happening.
Yeah, I was dancing in my kitchen this morning. Like I'm laughing, and then I'm also having moments that I'm completely freaked out. And then I bounce back and I'm like, everything is awesome right here, right now. So definitely I went through a big pity party, went through all of that guilt and shame. And then I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. So I might as well be happy right here, right now, because everything is really good in my life, except I don't have any income. And that's causing a lot of issues because things need to be paid for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very counterculture, right? To just move back in with your parents and not pay your bills in devotion to something that you don't even know what it is.
100%. And going through these different experiences where there's not many people that can relate to it. And then having, like, trying to have this community and putting myself out there and not dead silence, but not anything that I'd be able to sustain myself, my existence with as far as income.
Yeah, I get that. I experienced that myself, right? When I went through my portal. It's like you're so deep in to where you're going, people can't see you.
Yeah.
And that's okay. In my experience, we do come out the other side. And you even spoke to it of the old identity falling away. And what could be helpful is actually to hold a ceremony to the you that is dying and thank her, wish her well, and let her go.
Thank you for saying that. I actually had the idea to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. She's been amazing, right? Like we love her. She's wonderful. She's incredible. She's all the things. And she's just done.
Yes. It feels sad, but then it's like on the other side, it's like you're saying goodbye to someone that was never even you anyway, at all.
Yeah. She was the clothes that you were wearing to live inside the life that you had created that you thought was yours.
Mm. It feels peaceful. It feels peaceful because of all of the false ideas and perceptions and emotions and the guilt and all of the past pain. I mean, what could be more joyful than to release all of these aspects of this self that was created that's not you? I mean, like, I feel like I'm probably going to float. I do feel lighter when I'm actually just being because I don't have the thoughts that my mind wants to throw at me. I'm just not taking that cookie. I don't accept it.
Yeah. And what can be even more powerful, potent in those moments, right, is not personalizing what your mind is saying. Because our mind is intended to be a receiver of creative, inspirational, divine ideas. And yet it's become very, very muddled with a collective consciousness that doesn't support our spiritual evolution.
Yeah, it's so, so important. I'm so happy you said that because when it's your mind and your thoughts, you're thinking, of course, this is me. Of course, this is my thought, instead of having that distance and just saying, no, like I am literally just perceiving this. I'm watching this come in and out, and it doesn't mean anything. I was at the point in the not too distant past where I was literally, it was so funny. Everything meant something. If there was laundry on the floor that hadn't been done, oh my God, I'm such a bad mother. Like literally, these thoughts would come in. I'm like, holy crap, everything. If my house isn't spotless, I'm not doing well. I'm not really not doing it here. It was wild where I saw all of these hidden, totally unconscious, like thoughts that would just breeze right through you until you become so aware and you're like, oh, this is interesting. Look at what this is coming up and look at how my body is reacting. Oh, yeah, no wonder why I'm feeling anxious or having fear around this and that. That's all that my mind is throwing at me. Wow. It was beyond eye opening.
Yeah, that's so beautifully articulated. And that's what happens, right? We're just existing. And then along come these thoughts swirling around in the atmosphere and they land. And then all of a sudden, we make them mean that there's something wrong with us, or there's something wrong with what we're doing, or what we're not doing, or what we should be doing. And we just get caught. Like the image I see is like, a dolphin in a net. And we're like, well, I was just swimming along. What happened?
Exactly. I have two sons, and so they are the best teachers. They are the best at showing me what I'm holding. Because if one of them's like, this dinner was mid, so so, I, in the past, would get so offended, like very offended. And, it meant a whole bunch to me. And now it's just like a joke. And it's not even said anymore because I was able to like shift that, like see that and see what I was believing. But it's What like a wild experience to be like so aware and conscious of the thoughts that are coming in that you have been believing and have been controlling your life. Yesterday, I have a sliding door in my living room, and I opened the door and I stepped outside. And as I was walking back in, it was a fly or a wasp, I don't know, that came back in with me. And I was freaking out because I didn't want it to be a wasp. And I watched as it was hitting the glass, trying to get back out. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so poignant. And then I slid the door open really wide and it flew out. And I was like, yeah, yep, that's us hitting the glass, just doing the same thing over and over and over until there's some space where we could just be free.
Yeah. Yeah. It speaks so deeply to how we create our own reality, right? In your example of your son, when you change what you thought about what he did,
Yes.
it all changed.
Yes, it did.
Yeah. And this is the power we have, right? Over the reality that we live in.
Yeah, and that's coming into the really deep realization that we do have that power. Like we are the ones. It's not by manipulating and trying to do something outside of us. And that's like talk about turning a ship around when you've been so conditioned and used to being that way of no, have to work harder, have to hustle, have to get this certification, have to send out 100 resumes, have to blah, blah, blah. And then no, it's only from within me that anything external is going to shift and change.
Yeah. And I love that you use that metaphor of turning the ship around because in my own life, when I have been bumping up against things, conditioning, right? Particular conditioning stories, patterns that are so deep, it literally feels like I'm trying to turn a ship, like those big giant tankers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love that you brought that in. And what I've experienced, right, is that the more you choose to turn that ship, it actually just even goes away. Like there's not even a ship to turn anymore.
Right. You're just full on in your being, and there's nothing that's going to come between that. It's just, ooh, I feel like in the past also, like I was deeply addicted to not feeling good and to looking for all of the things that would make me not feel good. And just like without being aware of it, just like simmering in that, just like in that energy of blah. In the past, I could see that with certain family members too, which also, by the way, I have seen that shift as well. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is different. Yeah, I'm doing something good here. Yeah.
Yeah, in the Andean traditions, they talk about when you heal yourself, you're not just healing yourself, you're healing 7 generations of your family line forward and 7 generations backward.
Hmm.
And so when you change, right, everybody around you changes.
Yeah.
It's like you open the door for them to see something different as well.
Yeah. It's actually such a beautiful process, like the whole thing, especially when you can have this viewpoint of that it doesn't mean anything about you. It's the separation of that egoic conditioning the mind and then just really like being. And then it's kind of like you can even giggle at certain things. When things pop up, it's like, yeah, okay. Like, oh my gosh, this is so funny. And I think that for me anyway, I was speaking with someone the other day. I was like, I'd rather deliver 3 babies at the same time. I mean, because of how intense it can be and how vigilant, like, whew, how if you're doing this and if you want to, like, it can be very intense. But to just stay with it and stay with it and stay with it. And then it's so peaceful and joyful, like just to be without any of that baggage.
Mhm. Yeah, and what it speaks to, right, is this idea that in our human form, we are a divine being. We are a small piece of source in a body. Yet we are separated by the culture we live in, the societal norms, the stories, all the things, right? They have created separateness over the millennia. And in this journey back to source, we are the ones that have to change. God doesn't have to change. Spirit is spirit, like always has been, always will be. And we're the ones that have slowly separated ourselves. So we are the ones that need to make our way back to spirit, to source. And we can't expect spirit to just come and try to fit into our form where we're covered in these different identities. We have to peel them back in order to remember so that then we can move back up to God.
I even feel when you say that too, like I feel even more of this. I am that, but I literally am the one. I am the one who's dreaming this dream. I am the character. I'm every person and situation. And I'm becoming more aware of that aspect, that higher consciousness, as not being outside, but just being me and everything. And everything is being projected from that higher consciousness. So I can't look at it anymore as something that's ever been outside of me. I was raised as a Roman Catholic and definitely raised with that feeling that God is like something in the sky or somewhere. And I just am, especially very recently, more and more just feeling that it is me. I am that consciousness. I am that, but I am just like having this experience and opening more and more to it to realize that if I am not the conditioned persona and identity, then what am I really?
Yeah. Yeah. You're the way that I see that or experience that is you're remembering interconnectedness. You are clearing all the things that stand between us and remembering this interconnectedness of all beings and not just human beings, but animal beings, water beings, stone beings, thunder beings, river beings, all of it, right? We remember the interconnectedness of all things and we get to experience it.
Right. Like as we're speaking right now, I'm just, my heart's beating. I'm like feeling into my body and just my body is so alive. Everything is just so alive. Where in the past, especially when you're just so busy and you're just not present, that everything is just so flat. The presence is always there, but you're just not recognizing it. You're not aware of it.
Well, I think, right, we forget to be in relationship with it. And what you're experiencing is that now you have time and space in your life and you are developing those relationships. And I experience that the relationship with the body is the portal to God, to divine source, because it's what houses our soul. And so when we can interact with our body, like how you're saying, you can feel your body, this is the vehicle that allows spirit to be with us on earth. So by being so busy and in careers that aren't supporting us, in relationships that aren't supporting us, being so focused on externally being validated and external resources, we forget that the relationship that we get to prioritize the most is the one with our body and the one with our creator. And through that, everything happens as it should, rather than with our like forcing and trying to make it a certain way.
Oh, right. That the control aspect of trying to change and trying to do stuff. And I would say that there's not a lot of people that are just being and they're not pushing and forcing. I know a woman, she does some podcasts here or there. She does no advertising, nothing. She's not like on Instagram. She's maybe posts 3 times a year, but because she is just being it, she's got clients just coming to her, people just showing up to her because she has done podcasts, but it's just her presence is undeniable. And it's not about rewiring your subconscious mind and doing all that stuff. It's just really coming into that deep presence and just being.
Yeah, and this is the portal you're in right now, is your full beingness. And I just see you radiating light. I see you relaxing.
I am.
Like just doing everything the opposite way to the way society says we're supposed to do it. Like that's how I see you. Like, yeah, go that route, my love. That other way, run that way.
Sarah, I am living like I'm on a staycation because the opposite wasn't working. So I'm like, you know what? Yeah, we're just gonna chill out. We're gonna enjoy.
Yeah. Well, what are you taking away from our call today?
That truly all is well. And to hear you speak about your own experience and come out the other side, that's comforting because it can be obviously very scary to leave everything behind and just have stuff evaporate. So I'm really just taking away this peace and even more of a reflection that I'm on the right track. You're on the right track, girl. Just keep it going.
Yeah. Yeah. They're showing the image as you say that there's a set of train tracks and the train is going by. And like there's people hanging out the windows waving, like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I love that.
Does this feel like an okay place to land today?
Oh, an awesome place to land. Yeah, I'm in a love puddle.
I could feel it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.